Welcome to the Guiding Brands podcast with your host and chief guide, Karen Vick. This is a podcast for service-based small businesses who want to get a handle on their marketing so they can attract and gain new customers. Okay. So, all right. So now I want to switch to us talking a little bit about, creating connections through story, and
Love that.
you talk about storytelling all the time. So what is it that, makes a story stick in someone's mind? And causes them to take action? What do you feel
Yeah.
that is?
I think it's that relationship. So going back to what we were just talking about, it's that relationship, it's that empathy, it's that connection. So they are relating a message to something that's important to them or their family or their community or something that's in their universe.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just going back to seeing a person in an ad versus not seeing a human in an ad, right? That is a demonstration of that is, oh, I'm more attracted to this message
Mm-hmm.
than this one because I see a little bit more of myself in it. So having that connection and that relatability is what actually keep messages, you know, in your head and in your heart. And that is really important because one, you want your message to be authentic, empathetic, and relevant, but also there's a frequency play here
Mm-hmm.
because from our studies, you need at least 8 different touch points with a person for your message to really maintain,
Mm-hmm.
to have that awareness built.
Yeah.
And so ensuring that your message is on point, but also finding how that person lives their lives, how they're consuming media. Are they watching TV? Are they on YouTube? Are they listening to the radio all day? One of those types of understandings allow you to then put those messages in the
Where
right
they are.
channels.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can start to actually
Yeah.
integrate your messages into their daily lives. And again, that frequency is really important because I do know there's a lot, I've ran for a week and nothing is happening with these advertisements. Yes,
Yes.
because we just started and you need to tell your story, right? You need to get
Yes.
your message using those 3 pillars into the right hands, and you need to nudge them,
Yeah.
continue to tell it and be a part of their lives organically. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do the pop-ups, the annoying, stuff that you see online that people hate, because that actually could do negative things to your brand.
Yeah. Here in Florida, I don't know if you're familiar with this
Mhm.
brand, Publix supermarkets.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Their ads are, I mean, oftentimes there's one that has been run for the last couple of years around the holiday
Mhm.
season. They don't talk about their food, their products, or anything in this thing.
Yeah.
It's a mini movie with a family gathering around a table, and the
Oh.
little girl is on a high chair, and the dog is outside. She's trying to get the dog to come in. She can't speak. She can't express herself, and so she knocks her cup over on
And
the
the dog comes
floor.
in. Yeah.
No, the
Oh.
mom or somebody, an adult, sees the cup on the floor, and in doing so, looks up and sees the
Oh.
dog and lets the dog in. And I mean, I love their commercials, because they don't talk about Publix. It's
No.
it's the family. It's that, and so that's
Yeah.
how you bring people in. And
And that's actually a very good business case
mhm,
where when you're looking to get donors, when you're looking to get new customers, when you're looking to even, appeal to VCs or whatever it is,
mhm,
you're not selling the product or the service. You're selling the value that it provides to your customer,
mhm.
which that Publix example is a spot on case study because they're not selling, they're selling products. It's a grocery
Yes.
store. They're
Yeah.
selling a ton of different things, but they're selling the life. They're selling
Yes.
the lifestyle, the value,
Yeah.
that type of feeling. So it's
Mhm.
really good that you brought that up because that is a very good case study of don't sell your product, sell your value.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the food, their products are on the dining table. They're serving.
Hmm.
You're seeing people move around and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's the feeling. It's that vibe, that
Yeah.
that you want to bring across. That you're saying, having our foods on your table
Yeah.
will bring your family together. You
And
know.
I would argue that
So
that's very authentic and very
yes,
empathetic,
yes,
right?
yes,
And the relevant
yes,
one,
and relevant.
as you were saying that, it reminded me of a campaign that we did with American Red Cross where we actually partnered with HBO. And so this was kind of a tongue-in-cheek
Hmm.
execution where we partnered with Game of Thrones, which
Okay.
Game of Thrones has this episode, I think it's called The Red Wedding or something. It's
Hmm.
very gory. Okay.
Hmm.
We partnered with Game of Thrones. So it was American Red Cross, Game of Thrones, and on all of the blood donor sites across the country, it was, American Red Cross and HBO bring the Red Wedding for blood donation. And it was very like tongue in cheek, but it was so amazing because it was incredibly relevant. Game of Thrones was huge then,
Right.
and we were partnering with it. It was a little funny, a little off color,
Hmm.
and it went gangbusters because we
Nice.
had the exposure of Game of Thrones. Everybody kind of understands and knows what American Red Cross is, and they were using this one specific episode that everybody was talking about, and we aligned the two, and it was incredibly relevant and timely because it was literally the week after the episode aired, and I think our blood donations were through the roof that
Awesome. That's
specific month. It
awesome.
was so fun. Yeah, that was a fun
Awesome.
execution.
Wow. Wow. That would have been a fun campaign to work on. I like
Yeah,
that.
it
That's
was
very
fun.
cool.
And like
Very cool.
we worked with the Game of Thrones designers, and it was like the stained glass in the
Yes.
castles. It was
Yes.
our logos with American Red Cross and Game of Thrones. It was
I'm
very
gonna
fun.
I'm
It
gonna
was very
search
fun.
for that. I'm gonna find
You should. Yeah,
that.
look it up. It's really, really fun.
Okay. So, okay. So we're heading into the holiday season. There's Giving Tuesday coming, there's
Yes, there
end of
is. It's a big one.
year. Yeah, end of year, campaigns, those kinds of things. And
Hmm.
as a matter of fact, I'm working with a small organization right now that has never run a Giving Tuesday or end of year campaign. And we're going to
Oh
be,
wow,
doing something for them,
good.
or with them. And so this, our conversation is just so timely because now it's helping me
Yes.
think, how can we do this? So what can you suggest for a small business in their end of year, because the end of year is important to them, and nonprofit organizations around the country right now are struggling because funding has been cut severely across the board. And so
Yes.
they're trying to find ways to give money, and they're going to the same pool as everybody seemingly,
I
because
know. I know. Yeah.
you're asking for money. So how can we help these organizations, make a difference, in
Yeah.
their campaigns? Anything you want to
The
suggest?
single biggest item for any size nonprofit, you have to be a nonprofit for this.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know about this, and I don't know, I'll probably get my hand slapped from Google because they probably don't want me to tell everybody. So Google and Microsoft both give grant dollars, free advertising dollars
I,
to
I told this client that
nonprofits.
yesterday. So yeah,
This is the
yeah,
biggest thing
yeah.
because you can get $10,000 a month, up to $10,000 a month
Hmm.
in Google and in Bing, Microsoft.
Yes.
That's also
Yeah.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
So $20,000 a month in free advertising. There are criteria. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get through it. We've done it with our clients,
Hmm.
but that is life changing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and they're doing, and it's not just that they give you the dollars, the grant dollars, or credits. They're
Hmm.
actually doing a lot of the work for you. They're
They're doing a
creating the
lot of the work.
ads.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah,
They're doing a
I
lot of the
like
work
that.
for you. And that's where like a team like mine would be going in and making sure that we're continuously optimizing those campaigns and pulling the levers to make it more effective over time.
Hmm.
Um, that is the single biggest thing. Because if you're going into, who has $20,000 laying around?
Exactly.
No
Exactly.
one. No one.
Especially now. Yeah.
Especially now,
Yeah.
especially going into the
Yeah.
end of this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say if you have not looked into it, look into it. There are criteria that you have to meet. Obviously, being a nonprofit is the first, prerequisite, but there are some things that you need to do on your website to make sure that it's meeting the criteria. And then once your campaigns are actually live, there are some performance criteria that you have to meet. But I mean,
Hmm.
up to $10,000,
Yes.
$5,000 of
Exactly.
free
Free.
traffic to
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's so, so important. So I would say that's probably one of the best kept secrets in our industry right now for nonprofits, is that this exists and very few are actually taking advantage of it.
I agree. I agree. I literally shared it yesterday with this
Yeah,
client. So awesome.
good.
Glad that we're on the same page with that. But
Good.
in terms of now, okay, so they have these dollars and they're doing their thing. Is there any trick or tip that you can provide to help them with standing out? Because now,
Yeah.
you're competing for dollars. You're competing, there's so many nonprofits going after the same audience right now, like I said
Yeah.
before. So how do I, as a nonprofit organization, stand out and
hmm hmm
cause you, that consumer, to make that decision to donate?
I'm going to say two things here. I'm going to say make sure that when you are, so let's just say for purposes of this example, you have the grant dollars. Make sure that you are inherently targeting your ads to get in front of the right people.
People.
Because while Google is giving you this grant dollars, they're not going to inherently do every single piece of targeting for you, because they're going to spray it and
Right.
pray it, basically.
Right.
So making sure that you are targeting and getting in front of the right individuals is really, really important. In Google Ads and Bing Ads or Microsoft Ads, they have different what they call audiences. And so audiences are really, really important because it actually is consumer psychology representing itself in targeting.
Based
And
on data.
so based on data, based on behaviors that are
Yep.
occurring online, which we are
Hmm.
measuring, what like we talked about at the opening of the call, we're measuring behaviors, data tells the story. And so Google is kind of packaging those different behaviors or consumer psychology behaviors into different audiences. And so
Hmm.
you can use those audiences, those behaviors, and align them with your organization. Say you're a pet organization. You can target pet owners. You can target people that are looking for pet food, pet toys, pet accessories. So that's an example of these types of targeting pieces where if you did not have that, your dollars would be literally going over the 300 million people in the United States.
Right.
When you talk to everybody, you talk to no one.
Still nobody. Hmm. True.
So, number one is targeting is really important. Messaging is going to be also very, very important. And that goes back to our three pillars: authentic, empathetic, and relevant. In that, there are some consumer psychology pieces that you can use. So, haste or FOMO, literally the same thing. Haste
Right.
marketing or haste psychology and FOMO are literally the same
Yep.
thing.
Hurry up
Fear
and
of
get
missing
it.
out. Hurry up and get it now.
Mm.
So using those types of, even like countdowns. So, we're matching dollar for the next 3 days. Here's the countdown in the ad that actually ticks, ticks,
Yes.
ticks. That is super effective because
Yeah.
people want to act on it.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
using FOMO and haste in your messaging alongside your three pillars, spot on. Also using I would say what I call social proof, which is this is the impact we're making. These are the
Exactly.
testimonials we're using. This is actual cases of my organization making impact. And that's really important because
Yes.
people want to see, okay, if I'm actually donating dollars to your organization, I want to see that it actually has been working. I don't want to be the
Right.
first, right?
Right.
So
Right.
they need some social proof. Reviews, testimonials, video testimonials are
Hmm.
fantastic. And then lastly, I would say groupthink is really, really important. So groupthink is my favorite example of groupthink is this behavior of the wave at a sports event, right? One person gets up and throws their hands up, and 5 minutes later, it's the whole dang stadium doing it
Right.
in a wave, right? That's groupthink. or herd mentality, which I don't really like that word, but groupthink is the theory or the behavior. It's really important because you also start to see in your messaging, this is how many people have already donated, right?
Yeah.
So attaching yourself to a community or another group that is behaving in the same way actually breaks down your barriers of risk or hesitation. And so you can then say, oh, look at all these people that have already given and look how much money they've already raised. I can
Hmm.
donate to that as well. So
Definitely.
those are some tactics within your messaging that I think are super important and really will set you aside, from
Yes.
all of these other organizations that are
Yes.
looking for
Yeah.
donations.
Yeah. Because, unfortunately, not everybody listens to the Guiding Brands podcast. I wish they did, but those of you that are
You
listening,
tell
you're
me who
getting
they
some
are.
really
I'll tell them to listen. Yeah.
you're getting some really good tips here. And this is
Hmm.
applicable not just to nonprofits. You can use this across your branding and marketing for your for-profit organizations, your local
Absolutely.
service businesses, your online businesses. The same thing applies. You need to know
Yep.
who you're talking to, where they are, and meet them where they are, and show them some proof that what you're doing
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
have them hurry to do it. Yeah.
Have them hurry to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Make it time bound. So, okay, now that these organizations have, say we do successful campaigns this holiday season, 2 months left, 2.5 months left in the year, literally two and a half
Oh
months.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And funding doesn't stop, at December 31st. It goes on from there.
Yes,
How
it does.
can we help our customers keep coming back, our donors keep coming back? Do you have any insights on how we can have these people just stay top of mind so that
Yeah.
they can, yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a couple examples of this actually. So I think your first interaction with a donor will set the stage for the rest of your interaction with that donor.
Hmm.
So I just, on behalf of Kinetic 319, we just donated to an organization here in Denver it basically teaches financial education to youth. Incredible
Awesome.
organization.
Awesome.
Every donation that goes in, they get a handwritten note from the CEO.
Nice.
I know the CEO, and I know that he has no time to do this, but the fact that he is taking time to do this is incredibly important.
Yes.
So having your dollars get donated to an organization or even becoming a customer, a personalized touch is
Mm.
really, really important today. Because in this day of AI and automation, and you purchase something on Amazon, it shows up to your door, you're not interacting with anybody. Those little touches of personalizations or
Hmm.
humanity go a very, 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 very long
Very
way.
long way.
So
Yes. Yeah.
I would recommend that. So just having a little touch point in that, especially in that first interaction, is really, really
Hmm.
important. I would also say keep your donors informed. So they want to see, if I donated this, what did it actually do?
Hmm.
So if you have a newsletter, or some people don't have the capability of tracking the dollar to the actual impact,
Right.
which is fine, but keeping them abreast of saying your dollars are making impact and this is how. And so having those ongoing touch points are really, really important, because the donor that you get today is going to be a lot easier to keep than to get a new donor.
New one. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so keeping them happy, keeping them informed, if you are an organization that they have aligned their value with you, the propensity of you maintaining that relationship is really high. You just have to maintain it.
Hmm.
So that is number one, personal touch. Number two, ongoing touch points of impact. Number three is more on the marketing side. And so the marketing side is really important because you can use something called remarketing and lookalikes. There are two different
Hmm.
tactics in paid media. So remarketing is basically the example that I use on Amazon, where you go and you look at a pair of boots and then you start to see the boots kind of follow you around the web. I
Right.
always buy the boots, Karen. I always buy them. It's a problem. It's a
I'm a
problem.
sucker too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I'm in this
Gadgets.
business. I'm in
Me,
this business.
gadgets get me every time. Kitchen,
Man.
household
So
stuff.
remarketing, or basically having a person come to your site and not donating, or maybe donating, and then having that message, a different message, not the same one, a different
Hmm.
message, kind of follow them or re-engage them in some way further down the road is very, very good. Because yes, you might be getting newsletters once a month or once every 6 months from the organization, but hey, you have a new service, you have a new product, you have a
Right.
new XYZ. It's important to re-engage your loyalist group, which are people that have already purchased
Hmm.
or worked with you. So that's on the remarketing side. The other side of the house for media is called lookalike, or LAL, if you ever see that in marketing decks. Lookalike is a AI powered audience or group of individuals that basically, if Karen goes to American Red Cross and donates some dollars, the data that Google and Meta and these other big groups, big data online presence have, they can say, okay, I know that Karen donated. I'm going to go look for other people that behave similar to Karen, reading the same blogs, going to the same sites, watching the same videos, you know, same time duration online. So they have the ability to basically search for others that look like Karen, package them up, and allow you to say, I'm going to target my
I
ads
wanna.
for people
Hmm.
that have never been to our site, have never donated to us, but behave like our donors online.
Hmm.
And that is a very, very powerful group that you can be showing your message to.
Very effective. Very effective.
Yes.
Now, you talk a lot about paid advertising, whether it
I
be,
do.
over the top, which is television advertising,
Hmm.
or, social media, and even radio,
Yeah.
to some degree. And some of these organizations don't have, or don't think they have the budget or the ability to afford,
Hmm.
advertising, outside of all of the other things that they do. They see, most people see social media as free, quote unquote free. And so they
Sure.
go on and they post every day, and they,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever they do. But advertising now, I'm going to be paying somebody. Can they
Hmm.
afford this? Can they, some of these things that you're suggesting,
Yeah.
can a small organization come up with some budget to actually do this?
Yeah. I would say that within today's marketplace, you know, any type of budget to get your message out in front of the right person, you can be spending $100 a month,
Mm-hmm.
$500 a month. Don't feel like that budget is too small, because if you can target appropriately and say you only want to target 5 miles, 10 miles around your organization, that will help you. And again, I want to absolutely preface this that targeting is incredibly important, because I have heard so many horror stories of people
Yes.
going to Google and
Yes.
Facebook and Microsoft and TikTok and all these others and saying, I spent $5,000 and I didn't get anything for it.
Anything. Mm-hmm.
And that's because Google took your $5,000 and showed an ad 5 million times to people in Turkey and the UK and Canada and the US. So
Right.
there is while Google and the big players have grant programs, they are not charitable organizations. So that's why I do recommend going and educating yourself first. If you are running them yourself, Google
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of very free, I think it's called Google Toolbox, I believe.
Yes.
You can look up Google certifications and you can actually teach yourself, at
Google
least
University.
minimally,
Mm-hmm.
Google
Yeah.
University.
Mm-hmm.
And just, there are 30-minute courses, right? If you do 3 or 4 of those, you're in a much better place than 90% of folks that are trying to do this. And if you are educating yourself a little bit, go into the platforms, you can start to tailor your campaigns. $100 a month, $500 a month. You're going to start to see some things happen. But again, don't do it unless you're at least educating yourself a little bit, because there are those kind of traps. Not really traps, but they're not, the systems aren't set up in your favor.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
And
so
consider all that Adam has shared before in terms of audience and
exactly.
storytelling and reach. How do you make that impact, that
Yeah.
emotional impact and connection with your audience?
Yeah.
So all those
And
things come into play.
it is that specific reason. So my agency, we work with really big companies. We work with startups, barely starting. And we launched our own program called the Get Moving Package specifically for this type of individual that is looking to get started. They have no idea what to do. They don't want to get taken by Google. And so my team basically builds it. They build it, they set up all the tracking and the tagging to make sure all the data is plugged in correctly, all the targeting is correctly. And that's really correctly set up. And that's really for us to build it and then hand it back to you
Hmm.
so that we can set up small businesses specifically for success. And it's been, I mean, we
It's a
do a
really
number
cool
of them
idea.
we do a number of them every month, but this is a exact example, Karen, of what we were talking about before of reaching out to your audience and asking them. And so I had a number of conversations with small businesses. Agencies typically don't work with small businesses
Right.
because financially the
It's
numbers
not
don't really
worth
make
it.
sense.
Hmm.
So my experience in understanding that there is this small group of larger brands in the United States or in the world that all the agencies are fighting to go after, highly competitive. There is this sea of small and mid-sized businesses that are hungry for expertise and they want to take their business to the next level, but they can't meet the retainer model of many agencies. And so
Hmm.
this package was really an example of me listening to the small businesses, understanding their needs, and then tailoring my own business offerings to help serve them.
Nice. I love that idea. Be
Yeah.
careful, I might steal it, but I don't do. No, sorry, I don't do paid ads, so I
No
wouldn't do it.
worries.
I don't.
No
But
worries.
that's very clever. It's I'm talking with someone, a coach, and
Yeah.
he talks about patterns all the time.
Yeah.
Finding the patterns, and you identified one. In just talking to your customers, so it's
Hmm.
really really great. So we touched on what you shared about just those handwritten notes. That's a way that you can make your customer and your donors feel appreciated. It's not enough just to just take their money and run. At least you're
Exactly.
you're letting them feel like you appreciate the fact that they made a purchase, they made a
Yeah.
donation, they gave a gift. Are there any other like simple things that you want to suggest to people that they can utilize to share appreciation, to make them feel like they're appreciated? We talked about keeping connected through
Hmm.
maybe newsletters, emails, those kinds of things. Is there anything else that you can think of? Any one small thing?
One is actually more personal to me because I always find that I run into this question with organizations that I donate to or participate with is I donate to them financially, but there's always a kind of an urge for me that's like, how can I actually donate my time? How can I volunteer?
Hmm.
So consider also how to keep stickiness is maybe allow different ways of people to interact. Money is great. It keeps the lights on. It keeps the organization funded and fueled. But also consider how potential individuals could volunteer their time or their actual, time during the day to volunteer in person versus just a monetary.
It's a good idea.
Because a lot of people do feel like, hey, I want to actually yes, I'm going to pay you guys dollars, but I also want to take part.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. And something else just popped in my head is the mission. Make sure that
Oh,
the
so
mission of the
important.
organization is clear and you're
Yes.
communicating that. And when you invite people to participate, whether volunteering or
Mm,
offering their time for any reason whatsoever, you're enforcing that mission of your organization when you do that, and you get them feeling like, yeah, I made a difference.
yeah.
I made a difference because remember, these organizations are serving others. And so
Yes.
when you look at the end result of what it is that's happening, then you can say, I did that. I helped to do that, and that,
Yeah.
that feel good feeling comes into play. Okay. So, okay. So we talked a little bit about how they can, keep this communication going. And throughout the year, marketing has to continue. You got to keep
Hmm.
going. And we talked a little bit about AI before, but in terms of helping them with, questionnaires and surveys and things like that, how can I or we encourage these small businesses and nonprofits to utilize AI? What can they do with AI to help them with their marketing?
Oh, play with it. Just
Play
play
with
with
it.
it. Play
Mm-hmm.
with it. Dive in. Don't be afraid. Ask you whatever you want. People are having like emotional conversations with AI. But
Right.
when it comes to marketing, when it comes to marketing, I think some very specific examples in regards to the audiences that we were talking about before, or the targeting, where you may not know everything that's available to you, but telling a chatbot, hey, this is who I want to target, give me the targeting options available in each marketing platform, it can do that for you. Have it
Mm-hmm.
write you different ads, right? Give it prompts and have it write you different messages and ensure that, again, they're relevant, empathetic, and authentic. And make sure that you're also using it to potentially look at, your website. So have
Mm-hmm.
it crawl your website, give you pointers. um, there's a lot of
There's a
ways, and
lot
I
of
and
ways.
and there is writing, getting questions, getting targeting. Have it write brochures. There's just so many things that we can't even spend the entire podcast talking about, but just play with it. And I
Yeah.
think that what is available today with AI is going to be completely different what tomorrow is, because it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, and perhaps one thing I just thought of, you may have an idea and you're not sure if it's going to work. You want to know if
Play
this
with
is going
it,
to
throw
work.
it out there,
And you
brainstorm
say,
it.
you know what, I have a budget of
Yeah.
$500 for the next 2 months. You know, would this be a good idea for me to, create a campaign
Uh-huh.
around? Do you think this is feasible? Talk to the thing like you would. It's
Yeah.
unusual. I know
It,
a lot of people are scared and they're like, we're talking to a computer. But yeah, but you know what? That's where we
it's the
are.
biggest brain in the world.
Yeah, that's where we are. It's
The
gathering
other
information. Yes.
the other item about AI, specifically in the nonprofit world, is have it look up grants for you,
Mm-hmm.
because that is Karen, that is such a
Mm-hmm.
tedious process. It
Yes.
is such a
Yes.
tedious process. So
Yes.
having it understand your organization, what you do, can actually cut that search time for grants down dramatically. And it could also
Tremendously.
help you fill in the applications.
Yes.
So that leverage AI in the grant portion of your work, because it's streamlining so much
Yeah.
of that admin.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
one other thing that you can do is you can actually use AI if there's an organization that you say, you like what they're doing it really well, you in your mind, or you may have data about them.
Hmm.
Ask AI to help you understand what they're doing and how you can
Yep.
apply it to your organization, or some version of it based on your budget and your time, your resources, so
Yep.
that's a really good way to do this. Okay. All right. So, if every listener could make one small change to better connect with
Ooh.
their supporters, what would you tell them to do first? If there's this one thing that you would say, right now, what would you
um,
suggest?
we touched on it earlier, and this is one. I'm going to give it to you because this is one piece of advice that I give to every one of my clients,
Mm-hmm.
and it is also the area that 99% of companies don't do, or probably don't do well. And that is, ask your
Ask.
customers. Have conversations with your customers. They are not this faceless body that is giving you money or interacting with your business. They have motivations, priorities, and they're seeing something in your business that they want to purchase from and interact with. Pull on that thread, befriend them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So make a friend help a friend is a great sales
Right.
tactic. And having those conversations, again, 99% of businesses don't do it. And I think that it is such a miss in the space, because if you're having conversations with your customers, you could literally build your business plan for the next 5 years.
There you have it. There you have it, people.
There it is. That's it.
I mean, listen, he talked about it at the top and we were talking about it at the end. So it's very, very important that you know
Correct.
your audience, know your customers, know your donors, know your community that you're serving, anything that you want to do that connects you with a human being, you need to learn more about that human being and what it is that they do, where
Correct.
they are, what motivates them to make purchases, donate, and so on. So, that's the last question I have for Adam. But I want to ask you, outside of that, is there
Mhm.
anything else that you would want to share with the audience? You know, anything else that I didn't ask
No, I
that
mean, we covered quite a
we
bit,
covered
which
a
was
lot.
great. We
We
covered a
covered a
lot.
lot.
I
Okay.
love I love this audience specifically because the nonprofit and the small business, and coming from entrepreneurs, I'm fifth generation in my family. As an entrepreneur and a leader of a business, you will have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Hmm.
And so, but it's good to celebrate the small wins, understand what you're living that American dream in a lot of senses, and you know, ride the roller coaster because it's an awesome one. And that's what I would take away from this for the audience, specifically in the small business and the nonprofits, is you're doing amazing things. And so keep it up. And podcasts like Karen will only bolster your ability to be more successful,
Yep.
and keep listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Adam. And if you don't mind, just share with the audience, where they can find you online. Do you have
Absolutely.
anything right now, like maybe a product or a giveaway, something that you want to share with the audience and have them reach out to you?
Yeah. So definitely follow us on our socials. We are extremely active. So we just started a new series called Sidewalk Sessions. I do all of my best thinking while I'm walking in the morning. I have two very large golden retrievers. And so my sidewalk sessions are really about what's current in the marketplace, whether it's business, marketing, whether it's finance, operations. I'll be doing those twice per month. They're literally starting today. So definitely go
Nice.
follow us on social. We're posting a lot of different blog posts. We have a lot of different tips that we post on our socials as well. So that's on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as X or Twitter. Also, check out our website, so kinetic319.com. Really, really important. We post all of our primary research. So we do a lot of survey work in the space for a lot of our clients. We post all of that, as well as all of our case studies and blog pieces. Last two items, Karen, if you will entertain me
No,
for a second.
go ahead.
Ask-kinetic.com is something that we've built specifically for small businesses and startups. And so ask-kinetic.com allows small businesses and owners to ask a single question, whether it's marketing or business related. I answer a lot of these every single week. My team members also answer a lot of these every single week. So it's just a great way to say, hey, I don't know where to go with this. What would you do? It's a great way
Nice.
for us to get connected. And then lastly, we do sell a lot of our own guides. So we do produce, we're publishing book 7, if you can believe that, which
Oh,
is
wow.
crazy to think about. These are sold around the world on Apple, on Amazon, on Google, etc. So definitely look for us there on the website, but also sold wherever books are sold. There is a free guide that I always recommend to folks that allows you to understand how to measure the success of social media advertising, because that's such a black box. And we add some pretty good free pointers in there if you want to go check that out. So
Awesome. Awesome. So, Adam, every guest on the Guiding Brands podcast, I consider them a guide. I'm the chief guide at Guiding Brands. You're today's guide. And
perfect.
we also give you a nickname. And for this series of episodes, we're calling you the meaning maker. So
I
you
love
take
that. I love the
you
meaning
take
maker.
yeah, you take meaning from people's thoughts and what drives them to generate business. And we love you for that. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, and thanks everybody for listening.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all for this episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. I look forward to sharing with you again next week. So please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Thank you and bye for now.